Didn't mean to start something there.
This is why you're telling the story today. I think the most important part is taking action. You've still derived a lot of economic gain from this. I always nail down the plan and try to optimize. That's really not the best route. Getting started is the most important part. It is kind of passive, so your time invested really isn't dramatic.
And I only say technically because it's a fun story here.
It's a good investment. It's a hedge against inflation, which means you wouldn't pay taxes, which everyone's always a fan of.
More persuaded now than ever to just keep the rental.
Now's the best time to buy. It's a great way to teach kids about business.
We love you, but yes, get out.
Yeah. They have just tons of resources. If you go to their website, they have calculators, books. Any resource you could probably think of, they have it. Can't think of too many downsides. If any of you out there want to take my money, make sure you stick around to the end.
Find any more duplexes?
No, but...
Didn't mean to start something there.
No, I have not found more duplexes, but the more I think about it, especially in preparation for this episode today, talking about real estate, I've been itching, and the more I think about it, it's just a very sound strategy, and I think it's something I would be good at.
Why?
It's a different commitment.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you buy something and I renovate it and I rent it, it's a short stint. The effort's kind of over with.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Once you get somebody in it.
Yeah. I just feel like it's a short stint of work that I would learn stuff and it would be enjoyable to me. I feel like it's not terribly hard to scale. Once you buy one, it's I could do this again.
Yeah.
And then the more resources you get and the more you buy and the more equity you get and stuff, and with leverage, you can scale pretty good, especially with different financing options. It's really intrigued me.
You should get into it.
This is why you're telling the story today. I think the most important part is taking action, because you've derived a lot of financial gain, and I don't think you're anywhere near optimized. I think your taxes and stuff could be better. I think there's other strategies, and you're always cautious to raise rents and stuff. I think it could be more optimized. Like I said, especially with taxes. I feel like you could probably make more or pay less in taxes even on your W-2. We'll get into that later. Kind of like starting a business. You don't have to have a perfect roadmap to still get further ahead.
Oh, for sure.
Most things could be better.
Yeah, this is very bare bones, minimal effort.
Right. And
Yeah.
it's you've still derived a lot of economic gain from this. You didn't spend 7,000 hours looking for a place or renting it or remodeling it or anything.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe you could have remodeled something different or gotten better rates. I have no idea. Anyway, where I'm going with this is I think action is the most important thing. I always nail down the plan and try to optimize. That's really not the best route. Hence why I don't have a rental and you do. You can come up with a perfect plan, but if you don't own a rental, what good is it?
Right.
So I always find a reason, I need to do this first. And that is the total wrong approach for basically anything. Getting started is the most important part. I had this thought about a week ago while I was prepping for this episode, and I was once I get the land situated next year with my parents and stuff, then I'll start looking.
You start looking now?
Why don't I just start looking now and buy it now, and then I'll figure out the rest later? My plan for the land anyway is to not put anything down and finance it over a long duration. So it's what difference does it make?
Yeah.
And it'd be easier to buy before I have more debt on my balance sheet anyway.
Yeah.
I should just buy one as soon as I possibly can, honestly.
The best time to buy is always now. What was the quote?
The best time to buy real estate was yesterday, and the second best time is today.
100%. Yes.
I actually had that quote prepped. It's anonymous, in case anyone's wondering. I'd give credit if I could find it.
But to your point too, I don't know if you remember back in Mondays, but I was talking about a rental for quite a long time. It was probably, I'd have to say 6 to 9 months before we actually found something. We've been looking that whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So
we meaning you and the wife, not me.
Yeah. Sorry. My wife and I.
Yeah. I've been talking about it for a long time. Take action. Don't do as I say, not as I do.
And to your first point too, how it's different than other businesses. That's 100% correct. Sure, I looked for 6 to 9 months, but then I think I bought in, I want to say November, and we found somebody to start renting in December already. So the time invested was very minimal up front. Well, minimal now, and it was still very short up front too.
Even looking, I feel it's kind of passive though. It's not you're spending 40 hours a week looking for a place. It is kind of passive. So your time invested really isn't dramatic. It's you check it when you go to the bathroom, or you check it before you go to bed or get up.
I just had notifications set on my phone.
Right.
Yeah.
So does I feel kind of low effort to entry.
No, it's kind of wild actually though. You said we, as in me and my wife, bought a rental, but technically I just bought the rental. And I only say technically because it's a fun story here. My wife and I have been looking at rentals for, 6 to 9 months or whatever, like I said. And we kind of got a gist of what we're looking for: 3-bedroom, 1 to 2 baths or whatever. And we've bought a few houses, so we're kind of on the same page already of buying mentality. And so we've been getting notifications. We work with a realtor who we've worked with for all our homes in Wisconsin. She's phenomenal. I highly suggest finding a good realtor that you trust. But anyway, she would say, hey, this one popped up, or I'd say, hey, this one popped up. Can we go look at it? And she'd set a date and we'd go look at it, whatever. But these things, this was 2022. Yeah. And these things were going like that. So you kind of had to jump on them right away. Yeah, I remember getting the call from the realtor, and she was like, this one isn't on the MLS yet. Do you want to quick go look at it and try and get an offer in today? Because this thing's going to go fast. And I said, yeah, definitely. And I was at work. It's like 11 o'clock. I'm going to leave, go look at this rental, and I'll come back after. I got into the house, and I'm like, this is it. I was like, this is the one. And the realtor was like, so when do you think that your wife could come look at it? I said, that's a good question, because after she gets done with work, we got the kids and then dinner and blah, 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 whatever. I was like, let me just call her. And so I asked if she could take a call at work real quick. She's like, you really like it? I'm like, yeah, this is the one. And she was like, okay, I guess so. And so it was pretty funny. We always talk about how I bought a house without her seeing it, and it's one of those stories where it's like you just got to jump into it, and we had full faith in the plan, and it worked out.
I think you're totally right. I think the most important thing is just starting, like taking the plunge.
Yeah, I will say though that having somebody else invested with you, not only financially but with the invested in the plan, really helps. The numbers don't always work, but I mean, you're a pretty creative guy. I feel like structuring the deal is a good challenge for you to make the numbers work.
Yeah, I think especially like the last duplex we talked about, like I think there is opportunities out there. A lot of the content and the stuff that I've watched so far, though, the biggest or most important thing is just not to make any large mistakes on the first one. It's like it doesn't have to be perfect, and not it doesn't have to cash flow a ton. It's basically just don't make any large mistakes.
Yeah.
The way the market is around here right now is there's not a lot of home inspections going on, but if you were going to buy something, I would not buy something without an inspection, or at least find a friend or a family member that's really knowledgeable and handy and at least can look at 98% of it.
Right.
Like if you can make sure the roof's not about to fall in, or, the foundation's not crumbling.
The foundation's big around here.
Yeah. Around here, there's a lot of basements. That's not everywhere in the country, but if it's old, they're not even always concrete. They're either cinder block, or sometimes if they're really old, they're field stone. And it's I stay away from that stuff.
Oh, for sure.
You get a lot of water in the basement's a big one. Structurally, and you just get water leaking in the house through the foundation. If it's been for sale for 2 years and no one else has looked at it,
there's probably a reason.
Yeah, and it's dirt cheap. I'm not saying it's not a good, maybe a good opportunity, but cover your bases and do the best you can. You're always going to learn something.
But that's not a good reason to
not start.
Yeah, exactly. Just look at our first episode.
Yeah, we definitely didn't do a perfect job on every episode up to this point. We actually just talked off camera before we even started for 2 hours about things we can improve and how we're going to do stuff different. We're always changing stuff. Real estate's great for long-term wealth building. I mean, it's really hard to outperform real estate. You can take money and maybe get better returns, but there's a lot of other incentives that come along with real estate that are super beneficial. Mostly, they're probably the most favorable investment in regards to taxes. When looking for a place, not that I'm an expert, I've never even bought one, but from what I've learned and gathered so far, big things to take into consideration are taxes and how much they're going up. A lot of properties around our area in certain locales, their taxes are going up dramatically every year. So I would just quick. I mean, you can even find it on Zillow. A lot of times it's posted.
Yeah,
just look at the tax history. I don't have great advice around that. I would just say consider it. If it hasn't gone up dramatically, that doesn't mean it's not going to. It might mean it's going to start going up more dramatically. Or, if it's going up a couple % every year, you can kind of plan on that. But it's something to take into consideration. And then also insurance. Insurance is only ever going up in every way. Car insurance, home insurance, house insurance. Those are the two biggest factors. I think the costs, are going to increase every year. The housing market in the last 5 years has been kind of crazy. Same thing with rent. I mean, everything's just kind of gone through the roof. But I've seen a lot of places around here, the rent's pulled back a little bit. It used to be, I would say, more stable, and you could always count on rent going up a few percent every year, or at least in, correlation to cost of living or inflation. But I would make sure that the numbers work out, that even if rents come down a couple percent for a year or two, that it makes sense.
So you were talking about how real estate can be beneficial in a multitude of ways. You brought up taxes. What's some other things?
Another reason real estate's a good investment is it's a hedge against inflation. If you start seeing large bouts of inflation, asset prices typically climb during these periods. I mean, you've seen it in the last 5 years. If you look at housing prices in the last 5 years, if you look at the stock market or gold or Bitcoin, I mean, just about every asset class has dramatically gone up since 2020. We've seen a lot of inflation. That's a big reason for that. On the flip side of that too, how it's also important is when you're financing real estate, it's typically over a longer duration. I'll call it 15 to 30 years. So not only does the value of the property appreciate, but in kind of, I don't want to say nominal terms, but the value of the debt is inversely correlated to that. So like if you owe $100,000 today, it's drastically different than if 15 years from now you owe $100,000. Like that value, it's still $100,000, but the value isn't the same.
Right.
And how far the dollar goes. So the debt is less impactful in the future, I should say. Most of that is taking into consideration, and what I would recommend is fixed rate debt. I definitely would not, especially if you're just starting out, I would not be buying real estate on terms that are not fixed rate.
Oh, for sure.
So like I would not be using a 5-year ARM. Unless you have a pretty guaranteed way you're going to pay that off in 5 years, or some kind of guaranteed financing, which is not likely, especially in your first deal.
Especially because you can always refinance too. Like you can take out a 30 at a 7, and then maybe in 2 years it's at like 6, and you can refinance that. Yeah,
you have the option, but you're not required.
Exactly.
You have a 5-year ARM, and you're like, oh, 7's not that good, and then in 5 years it's 9. That's bad. I'd rather have the 7 for 30. Another reason it's a good investment is it's leveraged. Meaning you can buy a rental, we'll just say for $300,000, you can with 20% down call it, and you don't have to pay for the full balance up front. And then when you get a renter, they immediately start taking over payments more or less. So how much you actually put down or purchase the asset for is less than the true value of the asset. So if you get even say 3% appreciation a year, your return on equity or what you invested is actually like double-digit returns, which is better than the stock market averaged over a long time.
Yeah, for ours, we put down 20%, avoid PMI. Worked out great.
And you're either cash flowing or very close to on a 20-year note, which is good. Yeah. Normally it takes like a 30-year note to get that same benefit.
Yeah, like I said, it's small, but it's not negative, so
right.
We're happy about that.
It's also, like I said, your still cash flows a little bit, which actually in the future probably will cash flow better. Just because it doesn't now doesn't mean it won't in the future, because you're on a 20-year note, and if you don't, say you don't refinance, your payment's going to stay the same, but rent over time will increase.
We do have some rather good tenants in right now, and I've been hesitant to raise the rate. So something else to consider too is if you don't want to keep flipping tenants, treat them well.
Like everyone I've talked to too has always said like I have the best tenants. Like everyone that has never owned a rental always like, well, why would you want to deal with people knocking your house down and trashing it? And it's like I don't know anyone that's happened to. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, and just because you buy your first one doesn't mean you're going to own it forever. Like
right.
You may end up selling it and buying a different one. So it's still more important to take action than buying one in the perfect area.
Yeah.
But things to consider too is like, is that town or part of town
on the way up or on the way down?
Yes. Yeah. Not just values, but like, is it getting more or less ghetto? It's also one of the few investment classes that actually provides cash flow outside of stocks that pay dividends or owning a business. There's really not many other things you can buy and then receive cash monthly.
Right.
Like you can invest in most stocks. We'll call it non-dividend paying stocks. Like it might appreciate, but you have to sell it to recognize some kind of gain.
Yeah. Unless you guys know of anything, let me know.
Yeah.
I'd be interested.
That actually brings me back to another quote by Warren Buffett. It says, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you'll work till you die. It's like, I don't want to work till I die.
Yeah, I don't think anyone does. So I'm sure there's quite a few people listening who think that this might not be a great idea, particularly because in the news there's a lot of stuff about Black Rock buying all these homes and stuff like that. Obviously in our area, I don't know if that's necessarily the truth or not, but I'm sure it's a concern somewhere.
Yeah, you can't watch a short or a reel on social media without somebody talking about Black Rock and how they own all the homes and they're jacking up all the rates. And it's really comical because there's like no evidence that BlackRock owns all the like any homes. They don't own like any single family homes at all. Like there's
Really?
there's not a shred of evidence.
I would have put a lot of money on the opposite.
So they're obviously, well, speaking of a lot of money, I mean, they have a tremendous amount of money, and they're basically invested in every single sector and like every single company.
Yeah.
I mean,
they have a bunch of Bitcoin too, don't they?
They have just such a large amount of money or assets under management. So they own like mortgage-backed securities and stuff. And like you can make an argument that may affect housing prices or something, which, in turn affects rent. It's like, well, name one thing that doesn't, when they have trillions of dollars, how that doesn't affect some part of the market. A lot of this actually stems, well, it's believed to have stemmed from Blackstone is a totally different private equity group altogether, like separate business.
Huh.
And they actually own a lot of houses and, rentals and stuff like that. And a lot of people, I'm guessing, mix the two up, but it's like one person said it on the internet and it's just like been regurgitated and it's not true at all.
Really?
Yeah. Although
I didn't know
BlackRock, one thing BlackRock does own though is they do own like some apartment complexes and stuff as part of their real estate portfolio, but it's like they're not buying up all the single family homes.
Sure. Which I'd almost suggest would be better to start with anyway.
Fun stat I found. Small landlords with fewer than 11 properties own the vast majority of investor-held homes at 95%.
Oh, really?
Real estate investing largely remains mostly an entrepreneurial activity rather than dominated by institutions. I'll link this article down below as well.
If I don't forget.
But yeah, I mean, fewer than 11 properties is like most landlords.
Yeah.
So you're one of 95%.
Way
real
to
estate
make me feel
investors.
small.
One rental's not small. It's more than zero.
I suppose, yeah. Well, way to look at the positive. Yeah, we do have the one. I've been thinking about, obviously, what to invest in next, and it's always really hard for me to consider another rental just because I hate Wisconsin. But it has crossed my mind, and I mean, I could always buy another rental elsewhere. It's really nice. I think you brought it up earlier, a 1031.
Mm-hmm.
You want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, like I alluded to before, probably the biggest and best reason to buy real estate is favorable tax treatment. A 1031 exchange means if you buy a rental property and then later down the road you want to sell it, you would incur, well, as long as you're selling it for more, but anyway, you'd incur, it'd be a tax liability. But if you take the money from that rental and you're going to buy another rental with it within a 1 year period, I believe. I don't know if it's calendar year or not. I'd have to look that up. You can actually defer the taxes. So as long as you're taking that to buy another rental property, or if you wanted to sell two and then buy like a fourplex, say, you can defer those taxes till later.
Yeah, that'd be super helpful.
So, I mean, ultimately, if you keep buying single families and then you had a whole bunch of single families and you sold them all, and then within a year bought, say, an apartment.
Quadplex or something.
Yeah. And, you sold 5 and bought an apartment instead, you would have deferred those taxes. And then if you just collect the money from the apartment, like you're not going to pay taxes until you sell it. So if like you just keep the apartment forever and collect rent, you wouldn't actually have to sell it, which means you wouldn't pay taxes. Yeah. Which everyone's always a fan of. Depreciation is the biggest thing for real estate. Everything has a useful life, so you can depreciate a home over time. There's also what's called like a cost segregation study, meaning you can actually break down a building into its components and depreciate things on a different schedule than as one entity itself. Like windows have a certain useful life as well as roofs. And you can actually break that down and depreciate things more rapidly to try to have less taxation on your income. In addition, if and when you have to pay those taxes, capital gains taxes are typically taxed less than your income taxes. They're more favorable as well. If for whatever reason you don't 1031, or if you ended up just selling and you want to get out of it.
Yeah, I was doing those calculations when I was considering Bitcoin, but I'm more persuaded now than ever to just keep the rental.
Now's the best time to buy.
Yeah, buy another rental maybe. Or Bitcoin because it's really cheap.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, in regards to diversification, real estate's great for diversification because it actually has a low correlation to the stock market and probably the price of Bitcoin, I'm sure.
As we've seen, yes, or as I've seen.
I'd be willing to bet your investment in real estate has been a lot more stable this year than other investments.
For sure.
I'm not knocking on anything.
It hasn't gone down 23%.
We'd all be in trouble if that was the case.
Yeah, I don't know. Buying another one's really tempting too because we have 2 kids. And there's always crossed my mind that, like, I don't know, just to keep it in the family, like who knows what the housing market's going to be like in, I don't know, 15 years when they move out or whatever. Like, not to say I'm going to gift them a house or anything, but
Well, it's nice to know you're going to have a roof over the head and it doesn't have to be the same one you're under.
exactly. Yes. Like at some point you do need to leave.
Yeah.
So like we love you, but yes, get out. And yeah, I mean, like it's a great learning experience and then have somewhere to be, but like I only have one right now. I have 2 kids.
Yeah.
So it's like, do I buy another one?
It's a great way to teach kids about business.
Yeah.
It's also, if you're interested, or, if that's one of your goals is to build generational wealth, real estate's great for that because it's easily passed down. It can be refinanced or repositioned as well.
Yeah, that'd be super cool because, like, even if they didn't want to live in it and they ended up buying it or something and renting it out or whatever, we just kept it in a family trust and
Perfect.
all collected dividends from it. That'd be super cool.
Yeah, there's definitely different phases of real estate investing. When you're just getting started out, you're kind of at the beginner stages. Every deal doesn't have to be like a home run. Like you don't have to buy the perfect place, that doesn't need anything. Like the odds of you finding that deal are next to, none. It's more important to get started.
Yeah, even ours that we bought, I mean, it was pretty close to perfect, but it still needed a bunch of stuff.
The deal itself is pretty close to perfect. I mean, the building's never going to be perfect, but you found it, did minimal work, like painted a couple things and put one door in.
Over all the outlet covers. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But no, there were some appliances and stuff, and we had to get rid of some garbage and fix some plaster and doors, and there's just tiny little stuff like I have to do around this house still.
Yeah. But it was like less than a month's worth of work, and then it was rented out.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks. So
yeah, done pretty well with it for the amount of effort input. Even just an appreciation the last 3 years.
Yeah. Well, that was lucky timing. But
yeah, if you're new to real estate, some good resources I would recommend are Bigger Pockets. It's probably the biggest one. They have a huge YouTube channel,
I used to listen to them all the time.
Yeah, they have just tons of resources. If you go to their website, like they have calculators, books. I mean, like any resource you could probably think of, they have it.
Yeah.
When I was first getting educated on the topic, I don't know, long time ago, probably 8 years ago now or whatever it was, that's where I learned a lot of my stuff from. There's a person that's active in that community. His name's Chad Carson. He's kind of defined real estate investing into 3 phases. He describes them as the starter phase, the growth phase, and the harvesting phase. And there's different strategies around that. I wouldn't necessarily do a ton of research on the harvesting phase at first, but understand over time to have some kind of plan that you're not going to have tons of outlying debt. Like eventually you want to pay down that debt.
Yeah, I think if that's one thing I've learned is I could definitely create a better plan for the future. I don't have it all like lined out. I would definitely say I'm still in that starter phase. There's just too many outlying factors right now that I'm trying to decide what to do with it, but I'm not trying to be rash about anything. Got to iron out that plan.
Some of the notes I've taken, I'll just quickly outline what Chad Carson says. The starter phase is entry into real estate. The most important lessons are to not assume too much risk or make any big mistakes. It's all about base hits. House hacking is a great way to get started as well. House hacking is if you were to buy a rental, say it's your first place, and this is what my intentions were, especially with that duplex I just looked at, is I would buy it and I would live in half of it. The loan terms are different. You're typically going to get a better interest rate. You don't have to put 20% down.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, you may have to pay PMI, but also if you live at the place for it's either 1 year or 2 years and it was your primary residence, I don't think you're required to pay capital gains tax on that then when you go to sell it.
Oh, interesting.
So it's a great tool as well. That may only be a one-time thing. I don't know. Anything related to taxes, you should talk to a tax person. This is for entertainment value only. Secondly, the growth phase is scaling and adding more doors to the portfolio. You want to start focusing on long-term goals and setting up for success. That doesn't mean the most amount of doors possible. Having an efficient real estate portfolio is paramount to success. So you kind of want to start to tailor your portfolio. You want to take a look at your properties, what's going to need a roof, what needs windows, and start, making some kind of strategy long-term of either buying more or cutting some down and paying down debt on other ones, or depending on, which way interest rates are heading, just kind of coming up with a plan. And then once that's concluded, the last stage is harvesting. And this is where you want to reap the rewards. By this time, you want to be deleveraged, meaning you don't owe, your debt to equity needs to be kind of in line. You want to start, cash flowing and collecting rent. You want to have, most of your properties paid off or most of the loan paid off. And then by this time you want a quality group of properties that aren't going to need a high sporadic CapEx spend, which means like roofs, water heaters, stuff like that. Like at this point, you've owned the property for a while, and you're kind of, you know how old some things are and what's going to need replacing in the future.
Yeah, I think that's all really great advice. Before I forget, though, one thing that was kind of scary, and I'm by no means any good with legal whatsoever, so that was probably like the most scariest part of the journey. We have some friends in real estate, and I've talked to them, and obviously they can't necessarily tell me exactly what to do.
But they can tell you what they did.
Yeah, exactly. I got a little advice, and the biggest help actually was Zillow. Surprisingly, they have a separate app for renters. They have a different like template you can fill out for a rental agreement. So I pretty much set everything up on there. It's really just being resourceful. There's so many different resources out there to help you with stuff you don't know. The hardest part is just taking that jump, and you'll figure the rest out as you go. You kind of have to.
Mm-hmm. I didn't actually even know that. I mean, I've done tons of research, and I had no idea that you could just find those templates on Zillow.
Yeah.
It's probably like the biggest app to find something for sale. But all in all, real estate makes one of the best investments for long-term wealth building because income plus leverage plus tax efficiency plus inflation protection plus control equals prosperity.
It's a lot of pluses.
Yeah. I can't think of too many downsides.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's the roofs and the other liabilities like roofs, windows, blah, 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 natural disasters. But I mean, there's going to be risk with everything. So,
I mean, if there's something that's going to get you some kind of return with no risk, return's probably garbage.
Yeah.
Or
like a CD.
less than inflation.
So earlier you told these folks that they had a chance to make some money.
Yes. If any of you want $20, there's only going to be one of you. But the first person to answer this question and leave a comment below, you have to have liked the video and be subscribed to the channel. What is the number of the exchange to defer taxes in real estate? If you're the first one to comment the correct answer and you're liked and subbed, I will personally Venmo you $20. Do you have any regrets investing in real estate?
That's a great question. No. Actually, yeah. I feel like we talked about this for quite some time in the shop on Mondays. Like it was probably a couple of years before I actually started looking. Mm-hmm. I probably should have just done it sooner.
Yeah.
It's like the only regret. But I mean, that's the same regret for any kind of investment. Probably should have done it sooner.
What about seasonality?
You would. You would.
Would you ever buy in December?
As you guys know, I've advocated plenty of times here that I do not like winter, especially in Wisconsin. He brings this up because I did. Yes, I bought the rental unit in November, and it happened to be one of those Novembers that it snows. We didn't find renters until like the end of December or something like that. And I had to shovel our house, go to work, leave, shovel that house, come back home, and it just happened to just snow every other day, like that winter. It's been atrocious, but
Keep
I mean,
in shape.
It doesn't. Yeah, there's no regrets there. It's just something that happened. To be honest, like I bought this house in February. I think most of our houses we bought in winter, which actually it's funny we bring that up because that's actually something you guys should consider too. Is a lot of people don't want to necessarily sell in winter. It's hard to like move, so prices are usually lower.
Yeah, or buy. A lot of people don't want to buy in winter because they don't want to move.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, if you look at my quarterly tracker on my budget, you can see we keep track of the home values. Yeah. You can see they usually escalate in Q2 and Q3 and Q1 and Q4 are probably the lowest. So it's usually a good time to buy.
It makes sense. There's a little arbitrage there.
Yeah. But, I mean, also be prepared to do some snow removal.
Unless you live somewhere warm.
Yeah. Well, I hope this definitely put some perspective into some people's minds here and got them encouraged to take the plunge, if you will. If you guys need any pushing, we will push you.
Yeah, if you guys want to push me to buying a rental, leave a comment below because I need to get on that.
Let's do that. I'm going to be first to comment.
Yeah, if you guys want to make some money, make sure you answer the question in this video and the previous one. Still, no one has claimed that. And as always, if you don't want to realize your mic was unmuted the entire meeting, make sure you like and subscribe.
Where do you come up with these? Bye.